The city of Bakersfield in recent years has been working to address gun violence. I previously showed you how those efforts are impacting our shot spotter and homicide rates. I'm Veronica Morley, your senior reporter. While progress is being made, the issues persist. And as those working to prevent this are learning, the youth in our community are some of the most susceptible to one of the main driving forces of violence, gangs.
You know, these was the same streets and park that I was ripping and running.
In Lowell Park, where he once ran with gangs, Jabari Dixon now stands with purpose.
To be back at the same place, that I was a part of the problem, and now I'm able to come and be an asset and be a solution.
Raised by a single mother, his early childhood shaped by the loss of his father at 4 years old.
I didn't think I even learned his name until I was about 9, 10 years old. Disconnects happen, so we go try to find and substitute it with someone else.
That disconnect led him to gangs.
See stories, your dad was this, your dad was this. I believe that initially, me pursuing the life in the streets and in the gangs, hey, this is an area that my dad was from. Hey, this is a neighborhood that he was ripping and running.
By age 13, Dixon identified with gang culture. At 17, he was sentenced for attempted murder, taking a plea deal of 9 years. He had no prior record and didn't physically hurt anyone, but the presence of a gun meant adult charges.
I have this park, this area tattooed on me. That reason because this was home. Ultimately, I placed myself in a situation that I had to face the consequences of my action.
A lot of times it's what they're exposed to. It's what the younger kids are exposed to. So if they see it, it becomes normal to them, right?
Sergeant John Otternis heads the Special Enforcement Unit, BPD's Gang Task Force.
They see so much of these gang members that are hanging out. They show that they have a lot of money. They've got cars. They've got girls. They've got jewelry. They have this stuff, and I think it's very enticing for young adults to see that and be like, "That's cool. That's what I want."
The gang unit can run all night, serving warrants, conducting probation searches, but most of the time just trying to prevent potential crimes.
A rival gang. So we stopped them. They evaded us for a minute. We were able to put a traffic stop on them, and they were able to stop, and then we were able to get a firearm out of that vehicle. So 99% sure they were looking to do a shooting.
As gangs continue to influence younger adults and even teens, Otternis said one thing that has changed is the role social media plays in how youth are exposed to the gang lifestyle.
In the last 10 to 15 years, I think that's definitely something that's changed a lot. I don't want to dive into the super deep details as far as the social media, but it's out there, it's out to the public.
Tracking social media can often alert them to risks, such as members or even teens with illegal firearms, as was the case this night.
I'm gonna take the left.
But that doesn't stop them from monitoring known gang territories or hangout spots.
Yeah, we see them, and obviously this is kind of a neutral spot that we can kind of get a conflict from rival gangs. Once we kind of spot a handful of gang members down here, we do our best to kind of monitor it.
Even one sighting of a rival gang member can lead to shots being fired. That was the case in the shooting that eventually led to Dixon's incarceration.
Through the process of you seeing it normalized on TV, you hear about it. Like, I remember my first time actually having a firearm, and for some reason, I feel empowered.
And so what was this shooting?
The Watson Lotus shooting.
Large crowds and events can also mean rival gang interaction and conflict, like the shooting on Lotus Lane, which occurred the same day as the Black History Month parade.
There had already been a few shootings just prior to that within I would say 2 to 3 weeks that kind of basically built up to this. So we had actually came in early that day.
That shooting killing 44-year-old Carl Powell Jr. The 3 arrested for the shooting, an 18-year-old, 15-year-old, and 14-year-old, all had gang ties.
This is a young man who's been living in this community all his life and nothing never happened to him.
Aaron Johnson, a peacekeeper and victim advocate with Garden Pathways, responded to that shooting, hoping to interrupt the same cycle that once defined his life as a former LA gang member who served 27 years in prison for a retaliatory murder.
44 years old and still have to be subjected to wondering if he's going to get caught up by a stray bullet. It's difficult in Bakersfield because a lot of these communities are family members. They really, they're killing each other and their family.
A liaison now, Johnson's work takes him from hospital rooms to homicide scenes, neighborhoods steeped in trauma to juvenile hall.
Because they pick that behavior up, they see the internet, they see how the music videos mimic how to go kill someone, and then they take that behavior and they go out in the street and act it out in real life.
In fact, according to BPD, the number of juveniles arrested for violent crimes has increased by 60% from 2021 to 2024.
It's part of them being respected. So if they can go to juvenile hall for a gun, That's a brownie point when you get out if you didn't say nothing about it, right? And a lot of times they just do like 90 days.
Both Johnson and Dixon point to early intervention as critical.
Where they start believing in you a lot more because you're doing something that someone else they never did before.
We can't believe in change if we don't have an example of it.
With the help of a mentor during his incarceration, Dixon made the choice to alter the course of his life, motivated by the loss of his brothers, both of whom were killed in gang-related shootings in 2016, less than 30 days apart.
That is pain that I wouldn't ask for on anyone. Family man, they took care of their kids, they worked, but on their free time, they gangbang. And tragically, their lives was taken.
Now, more than a year after his release and off parole, he started his own mentorship program called Changes, where he facilitates group sessions, even inside the same prison where he once served time.
For years, the West Side Crips, the 6th Street Park, I felt like was connected with me getting connected with my father. It took me years to realize that, you know, it was a place that I sought refuge in. And I tried to really hide the things and trauma that I was really going through.
All three men acknowledge the complexities of the problem, but agree by maintaining an active presence, change can happen.
The data has proven that we need to kind of branch out in a different direction. That's kind of what we've done in the last few years, specifically targeting who we believe are going to be the most likely offenders.
While the number of youth arrested for violent crimes has increased, the number of those arrested for gun-related charges has decreased by 52% over the last 3 years. Johnson saying getting involved at the right moment is vital, usually just after an act of violence is committed. He uses his own experiences, hoping to prevent retaliation.
And try to teach him to change his behavior in that environment that he's in, then sooner or later he end up being that way. Some of these guys have called me out of the blue and asked me, can I come and pick them up?
The same mentality of being a follower that led to my destructive patterns, ultimately that same mentality led to my change.
For Dixon, he doesn't ask youth to abandon their identities overnight. Instead, he shares his story, offering himself as the mentor he never had as a young man.
In their mind, it's right, sharing what I needed. I needed a mentor. I needed someone to come and talk, and you leave it to them.
Back at Lowell Park, he reflects on how far he's come and how much further there is to go.
They're getting younger. You have crimes nowadays that are being video recorded. These aren't things that were really being done when I was a child. It hit once I brought my son into this world, and I knew that, you know, I had an opportunity to break that generational cycle.
And addressing youth violence in our community isn't just happening in the gangs or on the streets, it's happening on many different levels. Throughout this series, we'll continue to follow the efforts to address our violence crisis. In Bakersfield, I'm Veronica Morley, your senior reporter.